the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
When President Trump came into office this year, Elon Musk was his chainsaw, in charge of trimming the perceived fat of government through Doge.
People voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get.
But after months of heavy critique, protests, and skydiving Tesla stocks, Musk stepped back. But while he was making noise out in the spotlight, Trump's main budget chief, the man who really holds the purse strings for the White House, quietly worked out of the public eye to further the Doge agenda.
We have to use executive tools to find other ways to make the Doge cuts permanent.
His name, Russell Vought, the president's hand-picked director of the U.S. Office of Management and Budget.
Presidents use OMB to tame the bureaucracy, the administrative state.
Vought held the same role during Trump's first term, but now he and the president are using the government shutdown to give Vought the power to unilaterally make budget cuts.
You all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way.
Vought suggesting layoffs for federal employees in a memo to federal agencies just last week. The president posting today that he would be meeting with Vought to decide which of the, quote, Democratic agencies Vought recommends slicing. Before the meeting, Vought threatened cuts to clean energy projects in 16 Democrat-led states and infrastructure projects in New York.
Well, thank you, Caroline. And good.
This, despite just yesterday.
We're not targeting federal agencies based on politics.
So who is the man who appears to have the high trust of President Trump and gets to decide which federal workers will stay and which will go? Before joining the White House, Vought spent almost 2 decades in various conservative roles on the Hill. He later served as the vice president of Heritage Action for America, one of the organizations behind Project 2025, which Trump repeatedly denied knowing anything about on the campaign trail.
Never read it. I don't want to read it. I have no idea what Project 2025 is.
Despite that, he tapped Vought, who co-authored part of Project 2025, the chapter called Taking the Reins of Government, Executive Office of the President of the United States.
We have to solve the woke and the weaponized bureaucracy and have the president take control of the executive branch.
During his first run as Trump's budget chief, Vought is described in Project 2025 as having, quote, overseen the implementation of the presidential budget, key policies on deregulation, and a landmark effort to eliminate radical ideologies. This time around, he pushed for cuts to the Education Department, Medicaid, and foreign aid, adding earlier this year he didn't believe the Government Accountability Office should exist.
We're not big fans of GAO. They are a quasi-legislative independent entity. Again, something that shouldn't exist.
Now, with Trump seemingly giving his budget director wide discretion and powers, it'll be Vought who, in these hours or days ahead, could leave a lasting impact on the American government.
Vaughn Hillyard is joining us now. And Vaughn, a lot there for somebody who White House reporters like yourself know, I think, well and cover often, who has a lot of influence, clearly, over the federal workforce here. It's notable, as you point out in the piece, that the president spent time onto the campaign trail distancing himself from Project 2025, today making a point to talk about Project 2025 when he's talking about Russ Vought here. Explain to us the next typical it might be to see an OMB director take on a role like this during a shutdown.
Right, Hallie. It was actually back in August of 2022. Again, this was before the president announced his a bid for another White House run. And before a major conservative group, he actually lauded the efforts of Project 2025 and essentially said that they were going to write the conservative footprint for what a Trump 2.0 administration would be like. And Russ Vought would be at the front and center of that. And in that chapter in Project 2025 that he authored, Hallie, he argued that the executive branch had effectively ceded too much power to not only the legislative branch, but even more so, as they call it, the bureaucratic state, and that it is the executive branch agencies under the president that should give the president, and in his case, the OMB director, greater say over, for example, where federal funding goes. So while Congress may appropriate funds, he has argued in the courts over the last 7 months that the OMB director, the president, couldn't choose to withhold funds if they so desire. And that's what we are seeing now here in this shutdown. As you noted, unlike any shutdown we've seen before. And the potential that he will seek to cut and end these particular federal programs or do mass firings, we haven't seen that in previous shutdowns, because typically you could say it's more of an unpopular idea to fire people. But what's different about this administration is over the last 2 years for Project 2025, they were.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.